Hello and welcome to Talking Bottom, the podcast about the 90s sitcom Bottom. Each episode we talk about a single episode of the show Bottom, and this episode is the fourth episode of the third and last series. It's called Doe. I'm Matt Brooks.
I'm Ange Johnson.
And I'm Paul Tanter.
Now, one of the better episodes of this series, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. We were kind of a bit dismissive of the previous episode.
We've been a bit negative, I think. Let's try and play devil's advocate a bit more, but hands down, this episode, one of the better ones.
Yeah, I think...
In the top three of Series 3 for me.
I think after break, this is a return to form. This one for me is probably my second favourite Series 3 episode after the Ferris wheel episode. Once Spudgun and Dave Hedgehog turn up, it feels very much like a four-hander.
Absolutely does. And this is the last appearance of both of those and Dickhead.
It's a standout appearance from Dickhead,
It's
isn't
the best
it?
one, the longest and best,
Yeah.
I'd say.
They give him some great lines in this.
This one has some of the best physical comedy I think you've seen in, not just in the third series, but probably in all three series.
There's some good stuff. There is some good stuff. We'll go through that in order, I guess.
But begins with a great solo bit for Rick in his bedroom.
Do you want to go through the plot, Paul?
Eddie has locked himself in his room for almost a week now, and when he eventually breaks in, Richie discovers that he has been setting up his own printing press and forging money. Unfortunately, when they go down the pub with Spudgun and Dave Hedgehog, the barman, Dick, spots that the £27 note is a forgery. ... That's the plot.
Okay, that's quite precise.
Yeah.
Concise, I should say.
It doesn't give it away for once.
This episode, it feels like a four-hander. It is a four-hander. Do you think this is kind of the direction they wanted to go with the series? Now making it more of a young ones, grown-up type thing? I'm
not sure. I think it's just this episode lends itself because they obviously have had from the off the idea of the pub quiz, you would think. So bringing in Spudgun and Hedgehog for the team had to happen. And it's almost a five-hander really with Dickhead.
Almost. 4.5.
Almost.
Yeah.
4.5-hander.
Yeah. And there's so many other characters, even though you don't get to really meet them all.
Not really named, are they?
Including the cop from the lineup episode. The black cop from Parade. He's not at the CID table, he's at the students' table.
Okay,
and
so
he's playing a
not...
different character.
Yeah, all right.
So Helen Lederer is not the only person to play two different characters in Bottom.
Fair
this
enough.
guy is as well.
Okay.
So the guy's name is Robert McEwley. He's done quite a lot of other stuff, but of course he will always be most famously remembered for his two appearances in Bottom.
For going back to study whatever it is, having been whacked around the head probably a few too many times with a truncheon.
Yeah, Police Academy or something then maybe.
Do you think it's a four-hander with Spudgun and Dave Hedgehog because Eddie would naturally keep the forgeries from Richie, but in order for the audience to kind of see them, he needs to share them with someone, if that makes sense? Do you think that's kind of a plot point?
Richie discovers it along with the audience, doesn't have the eyes of the audience there, but this is a thing, this is a scheme between Spudgun, Eddie and Dave Hedgehog. Richie just forces his way into it. They're not happy, they don't want him there at all. There is no...
And it's a perfect scheme for Eddie, Spudgun and Hedgehog to have... Well, you'd think probably Eddie's the mastermind.
Can we talk about
the forging of money?
Ascribing intelligence to Eddie that's previously not been there.
It comes and goes when it needs to be intelligent.
How stupid Spudgun and Hedgehog really are in Series 3 throughout, but in this episode particularly.
Last week's story did feel very laboured. This episode's story, I feel like the story's very well set up.
We've got a lot of different locations, shooting locations, just seeing his room and stuff.
Yeah, but even from the off, they just need to give the information. Eddie's been holed up in his room for a week, and Richie's very restless, and that just kind of leads into it. We don't need a lot of exposition.
No.
Like last week, there was a lot of then we did this, then we did that.
The tension's built up straight away. Richie's doing his monologue. He's rereading War and Peace however many times. I love the call back to War and Peace as well.
Yeah. So War and Peace is a sort of shorthand for a long period of time. You know, they use the same gag for when Richie's playing hide and seek, and War and Peace is on the TV, isn't it? And he's read it first time, chapter 1, sentence 3. That's right. And now he's got through it twice.
Yeah,
as well.
At
That's
least.
the thing. Did you guys notice it opens with the audience laughing a little bit? So I think the joke has been trimmed from the beginning.
Okay.
Possibly.
Right.
Or he was
Rick
bratting about. Yeah, who knows.
I did think this opening bit is a lovely little solo bit for Rick Mail that is a good example of great writing. The "a load of old bollocks" I think is a great punchline to the gag. But things like, well, they spelled the count wrong, which is another...
It goes over their heads, doesn't it? There's no
response. So explain that to people who are ignorant and don't understand that sort of thing.
And who don't like to hear swear words on podcasts. Well, my assumption...
I don't understand.
Oh, right. Well,
so they got the count wrong in the book. Yeah. So obviously Rick's alluding to the word...
Cunt.
Yeah, can we say it? C-U-N-T.
It's kind of missed by the audience.
It is, absolutely. There's no reaction.
Did you guys notice in his bedroom there's a bunch of ball games?
Yes.
And I just start thinking, has he been playing them by himself?
Oh,
Richie,
okay.
you know, you can imagine him doing that, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
practicing them, looking at all the answers, cheating, and then, hey Eddie, do you want to play? No. Oh.
Yeah, the boredom. But it's the first time we've seen anything like that in his bedroom. There's some downstairs in the flat on the bookshelf. Again, because it's series 3 and it's a completely different set to series 1 and 2. There are very different things in the background of Richie's bedroom. I like that the dressing gown's hanging up on the door.
Yeah.
No spunky tissues this time, though.
No, but there's a spunky hanky in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Isn't there?
Was there?
Yeah.
When he pulls it out.
Well, the Morris dancing bit.
Yeah,
so it does the very normal thing of, hey everyone, let's have a Morris dance. Oh yeah, okay, come on, get your hankies out. I haven't got a hanky like everyone else. No, I have one, and it's been coated in spunk.
With one of the best sound effects as it's
crunchy,
pulled apart.
it's like dust coming off it.
Using your hanky to wipe up your
Reuse
own spunk
it,
and then reusing it really is
to a
foul,
Morris dance, to put it in your pocket while it's like, surely if you're going to use it, like better wash it before.
Unless we are being too violent, it is just snot.
No, it's spunk.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah, definitely.
You know,
I stake my reputation on it.
Sure, he might just not wash his snot out. We might be putting far too much.
So he's not in the bedroom long before he goes and confronts Eddie. Beautiful throwaway line. You've been in there for 7 whole days. He wouldn't have got stabbed in the eye if he didn't announce himself. That bothers me a little bit. You're an idiot.
Yes, the sequence where Richie gets stabbed in the eye with a snooker cue and then gets his ball set on fire. I read in an interview with Luke Skywalker actor Mark Hamill that this was the sequence that got him into watching and appreciating Bottom and Rick Mayall and stuff.
Isn't it also what made him fall off his treadmill and injure himself?
That's exactly right.
That's the full anecdote that he shared on Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think...
Is that what? And that's how he cut up his face?
No.
No. He was getting into shape for Star Wars because they were leading up to the new Star Wars movie.
You mean Force Awakens?
Was that? Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh, so he wasn't into Bottom until then?
Correct.
Really?
Yeah, and he was on a
the
treadmill
loser?
watching it. Yeah, why didn't he watch it at the time?
Why wasn't he watching the previous episode, Eddie powering a treadmill?
I didn't realise it was that late that he'd actually been watching it. Okay.
Yeah, and the way he described it, I could tell he had obviously fallen in love with the show for what he was seeing of it at that moment, which was very cartoony, very slapsticky. And I suppose for a lot of people, Series 3 might be their favourite if Series 3 was the first thing they saw of Bottom.
Yeah.
Because I think if I hadn't seen Series 1 and 2, I still would have fallen in love with the show based on Series 3.
Yep.
And then I would have seen 1 and 2 and gone, oh, these ones are even better.
And I've done that with other series that I've watched. You know, you sort of go back. With Red Dwarf, I saw
definitely. I mean,
3, 4 and onward, and then we got the VHS of 1 and 2, and lots of people shout me down, but I absolutely adore Series 1 and 2 of Red Dwarf. I think in terms of the writing and Lister and Rimmer's relationship, nothing can touch Series 1 and 2.
You know, wow. I can see it's definitely not a write-off.
I absolutely agree that once Crichton joins and they get into their groove, that obviously from there onwards it's great as well, but I adore Series 1 and 2 of Red Dwarf.
It's funny you say that, because I'll always maintain that Series 3 to 6 are the height of Red Dwarf. It's where they're the funniest series. But 1 and 2 obviously are lacking in terms of production design and budget, and they're not as funny as the other ones. But I do like the bleakness of them, you know?
I think they're funnier than a lot of...
okay.
If you enjoy bleak humour but their characters are there. And they're snarking at each other constantly.
Those two are. Cat's basically got no character yet.
Yeah.
But there are kind of similarities in that instance with the first series of Bottom in that instance. You know, it's these two people trapped together, bleak, depressing lives. And then the comedy kind of like comes to the fore in Red Dwarf, I think, from Series 3 onwards. But 1 and 2, there's probably Beckett undertones of Series 1 and 2 of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, definitely. And them... Well, those two sleeping in the same room is something that Richie and Eddie don't do very often.
Those two sleeping in the same room by choice on a ship with thousands of rooms.
Yeah, it always tickles me, the concept of Rimmer being this thing that's such a huge technological drain and a massive technological achievement. Yeah. It's a miracle that what they've done, and no one likes him. It's such an effort to get him there, and no one wants him there. It's and it's a misunderstanding of human behaviour that Holly said, oh, you've said most words to Rimmer, therefore he's the best companion for you. Like, no! I hate him, but he keeps him the most sane, I think.
Yeah.
So, back to this episode of Bottom. Apparently enjoyed it so much that he was distracted and fell off the treadmill and injured himself, which worried Disney quite a lot because they were coming up to the filming of the new Star Wars movie. He described it as great sort of cartoon comedy, the kind of thing you haven't seen since the Marx Brothers, that kind of thing. And that, is, I believe, is the reason why he then did Man Down with Greg Davis. because as a sort of tribute to Rick Mail.
Makes sense.
Who's he playing Man Down?
You know, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
I've only watched Rick Mail's bits on YouTube.
I love the subtext of Richie's line, I've had no one to talk at for a whole week.
Yeah,
You know,
talk at.
exactly.
Yeah.
He knows it. Even he knows
Yeah.
he's not talking to people. There's no back and forth. You know, that's his whole... That's all he's used to. I have to say, Richie trying to be charming and sweet is revolting.
You mean his...
Eddie...
Yeah.
And then he sets his crotch on fire. Too right, does he? That's horrid.
He puckers his lips so much doing that. It reminded me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where someone a female character blows a kiss and it goes flying across going... and smacks on someone's face. That's
Jessica Rabbit onto Bob Hoskins'
face. Yeah. That's Richie trying to be seductive, isn't it? But with Series 3 Rick Mail sweaty face at that point.
So I have to say, Eddie obviously had a blowtorch good to go, waiting for how quickly he responds to that. And
Do you think throughout this week, though, he's already been seeing him off in various different ways?
But my point is, what's he working with? A bunch of volatile chemicals and paper, and he's got a blowtorch good to go.
Well, Eddie's not about health and safety, is he?
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe he just keeps that by the door, like someone does a baseball bat in case there's burglars.
Sure.
Only in his case, that's for when
blowtorch,
Richie comes knocking. Yeah,
because he's so ready by that door with it's the snooker cue, isn't it?
Snooker cue first,
which does look really.
He takes that like a champ, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He just wipes his eye and then he's fine. Then with his crotch on fire, he does a flip falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
You notice? Is that stunt man? Do you think?
I think it's all Rick Mail, to be perfectly honest.
I couldn't see the
It really
join,
looks like
if it
it's
is.
him.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And, I've got to commend the commitment to the fire gag, right? Because now when you do fire stunts, obviously you have protective clothing on underneath, right? But what you can never really account for is when flames lick up. What I'm betting Rick didn't have was fire-resistant clothes under his shirt. And what you get then is you get the heat from that up over your stomach and onto your chest.
So why did a flip?
I've seen that before when Rick set Aid on fire for the Dangerous Brothers, and you can see Aid really leaning back away from it.
Because it's so hot.
Yeah, so you've got protective stuff under where the flames are, but the flames are going up. It will fucking hurt. Full commitment to Rick Mail for not only being set on fire, but then throwing himself downstairs.
Yeah, falling while on fire.
Yeah, but also making the stunt look really good and comical at the same time.
And a flip. Needless, but brilliant, isn't it?
And then all rounded off with his crotch in the fish
Yes.
bowl.
Now, did you notice...
Which has mysteriously appeared again.
It's a new angle as well. While he's fucking it, essentially, you see the fourth wall where the TV is, sort of thing, for the first and only
It's
time.
It's the other wall of the flat that you wouldn't see.
Yeah.
I won't always keep on comparing this episode to the previous episode, but it did make me wonder why last week they only had a set of stairs that went up about 6 stairs that Rick had to stop at, that you could see in the background. That this week they've got a full set they can come down and do the stunt for.
I wonder whether they filmed it in order.
That's a good point, actually.
So actually, maybe the budget had run out by the time they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much is a staircase for the BBC.
Well, so
Rick already destroyed it.
This episode it went out in January '95, but I don't know what order they were filmed in. So
You'd imagine they were filmed in that order, but just why not? But
you'd imagine it, but sometimes sitcoms do move episodes around. Like Red Dwarf moved, I think, Future Echoes to second episode of the first series of Red Dwarf because they felt it was the strongest. Other shows have done that before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and of course in Bottom Contest was...
Yeah.
But that's because it's the pilot, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but
Extras did it. The first episode, second switched.
Right.
They went out on a different order that they're on the DVD for.
No, I never noticed that one.
They never meant they both episodes for some reason kind of work as an introduction to Andy.
Him putting the fire out is the nearest we get to his penis inadvertently entering the goldfish tank.
Yeah, there is a fish in there, isn't there? Dead already.
The water's really fucking dirty.
Yeah,
it's a callback sort of to Apocalypse. Yeah,
it's definitely a callback. There's a few callbacks in the language in this show as well to certain things that have been said before. It's almost like a little catchphrase from Richie, sort of like when he runs to the door. It's like, don't go, you'll like me.
How desperate is that to run to a door and just think they're going to leave before I can get to them and show them what a wonderful man
Because that's
I am.
it. When he did it it's in his birthday episode, isn't it? He's broken his leg, so it's like I'm slow getting to the door. So that's why he shouts, "Don't go, you'll like me then." But this one is he's been alone for a week essentially, so he's just desperate for some human contact. Is it Hedgehog who says he's talking at us again?
He's talking at us again.
It's the same gag, really, isn't it? He's talking at us.
You mentioned the dirtiness of the fish water. I didn't notice that until he was how rancidly dirty that was until he was walking away from it and it was put back on the table. I did wonder how anything would ever survive in it. And then as he moves a bit further into the flat, I saw for the first time a guitar that I'd never seen before. and next to a load of empty Heineken cans on the floor was a dog bowl with the name Fido on it.
What?
I swear to God, yeah.
Is that a Mal's dog?
No. Mate,
They
yeah.
nicked it.
Maybe they're trying to tempt in dogs so they can flog them to the kebab house.
I'd like to see them a pet. They've never had anything like that, have they?
Well, they had Elvis, the dead fish, didn't they?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the closest they've had. Right, so there's something I want to talk about, which is a leap in logic, but I just find the idea of it funny. So Richie's been sort of in his bedroom, just hanging about for 7 days. As far as he's aware, he's no idea what Eddie's been up to. During this time, he's moved in all of that printing press equipment, unbeknownst to Richie. How on earth would he have set that up on his own or with help of people? And also, where's he getting the money to do this? You're not going to take any guarantee from someone who's setting up a business printing fake money. I'll pay you later.
You almost get the feeling that Eddie's put it together himself.
It,
It's a good
Entirely.
job, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, it's just the design of the money's where he's fucked up.
The reveal of that printing press is fantastic.
yeah.
He's got that little plastic cap thing on.
It's a good-
Yeah,
like a gambling.
especially because you
what's
meet it when Richie does, and he's just been being
Yeah.
kind of horrendously beaten up. And
You've seen
that,
a crack of a window, a crack of a doorway, and all you
Yeah.
know of his actual bedroom. You've only seen his bedroom like glimpses at before, really, apart from the Christmas episode we see it.
I think the printing press is a very good job by the production designer.
Yeah.
It looks homemade.
It's such a small amount of time on screen, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that Aid's wearing the little green printing cap.
Yeah, what I think of
Whatever they're
like
called.
what are they called? Not gamblers.
it's like the one
dealers.
It's like the one Data would wear when in Star Trek when they played cards.
Yeah. Okay.
Spudgun and Hedgehog are back in this one, and I know we've talked about the evolution of the characters of Richie and Eddie from series 1 to 3, in which they become more similar with each other. Spudgun and Hedgehog have gone from being quite outgoing and confident to being quite subdued.
And
It's a strange arrival, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, now there's very little distinction between those two characters. You could take each of their lines and give them to each
A
other.
little bit. I know what you mean. This episode, they do seem a bit similar, but still, I'd say Hedgehog has the lower status of the two. He seems a
Right.
bit mousy in this episode.
Right.
He looks down a
Again,
bit.
though, they do give away good lines because what brings you here? The
Well, like-
bus.
That's very similar to his what did they do before TV?
Yeah.
They had the tea.
Yeah.
It
The
is
same sort of
similar,
dry.
but
Yeah.
that was one of the. It's the first flash of brilliance from them, and then they sort of go Mika from
He's
there.
not, he's
Yeah.
not being funny though, is he? He genuinely
Yeah.
thinks that. He's not trying to tell a joke.
Yeah, he's never been asked what brings you here.
Yeah.
Overly verbose way that Richie does.
The difference between Dave Hedgehog when we first meet him, and he's quite witty in the first series, and this one where they sort of turned him into a bumbling hobo is quite marked. Spudgun always had a bit of confidence about him, but I suppose in this one, I know they're playing it slightly that they're a little bit scared of Richie because of the weird social outcast that he is.
I love her. Richie doesn't even bother to explain his soaking wet jeans. He's opening the door. He's acting so uncomfortable and weird. The olive opening sound, that's been used for the chest of drawers.
That was the
isn't
moving
it, from
of
Gas.
Rottweilers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very good. Little
Yeah.
callback.
Can
So
you
what-
eat
is
an
that
olive
callback?
without saying "Let's all have an olive"?
No, I can actually because I'm not a child.
I'm sure there are some people who, whenever they eat olives, will think, "Let's all have an olive,"
Yeah.
which I do often.
Why the two of them are just so scared? It's they're not just standoffish. They're scared of him, aren't they?
Yeah,
They don't like
yeah.
him in any way. How many
Yeah.
times he's had a chance to win them over? And by now they're like, oh god.
Hedgehog
can you
just screams for help
Yeah.
from Eddie,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
help.
But by this point in the story, I noticed something about Rick Mayall, which you then carry on noticing through the rest of the show. Does he have a big cold sore in his mouth through this episode?
Who?
Rick. Does Rick? He looks
I've
like
not
he's
noticed.
got a big cold sore on both lips.
Both
Can't
lips.
say
Yeah,
anything.
honestly,
up
at
and
one
down.
point it's on the upper lip, and then later on, I'm like, it looks like
Is
he's
it
got a
not a
lower.
cut from when he got
Maybe, I mean-
his
Maybe
teeth
he
knocked
burnt
out?
his face
So
off.
it made me
during-
wonder. You're right, because I didn't notice it before. Either he's got a cold sore and the makeup's just worn off at this point, or he'd injured himself somehow doing one of the previous bits in the show. I like how Richie can be fooled like a dog with the owner pretending to throw a stick.
Yeah. Oh, when that happens, I think when he's looking around, you'd notice there's a sort of saucy postcard on the wall.
No, I didn't see
That's
that.
like, who sent them this?
Do
I don't know. It's weird, isn't
you
it?
think maybe Richie sent it to himself?
Oh yeah. All right, that's exactly what it is.
They'd have
Yeah.
been away in Bridlington and he'd have seen one.
Do you,
Sent one home
do
to
you
themselves.
notice, do you notice as well, it's interesting, Spudgun and Hedgehog refer to Richie as Eddie's wife themselves.
Yes,
Subtext
yeah.
is all gone now, out the window. It's
Yeah.
Literally, let's just say it to the people who've not picked up on this yet.
Richie is such a social outcast and bereft of friends and wanting to be loved by people, that he has to be determined to pretend it's all a great joke that he's in on.
Well, let me in.
Even when his fingers and face are being crushed.
So heartbreaking, that laugh that he does, because that's the sort of laugh that you would have done as a child if you were being bullied. And you were trying to be like,
guys, hi mates,
it's all funny,
absolutely.
It's fine that you don't, I don't mind that you're physically
Very
abusing me,
well.
I'm part of the gang.
One thing I did notice, after the line, hang on a sec, and just before, what's this tomato, the camera bumped something, which I was watching it and thought, oh, I'm surprised they didn't do that again.
So to the Queen's Jugs, perhaps.
Yeah.
The Queen's Jugs. Yeah, that also reminds me of Bottom Live 2, the Queen's Jugs.
Well,
it's from this episode.
Talking about the Queen in
a sexual light.
Yeah. It's great.
So much pornographic doodles on there. That's just the idea of that. You, as a kid, you wanted to see these. Like, why don't we get? They should have had collector's items with it.
What, Meryl Streep and Bobby Charlton?
Yeah, anything. I mean, they could just be weird people, and you know, I doubt he's a good enough drawer to. Well, but people recognised who the things were, didn't they? So I suppose some people do. I guess you had to be told by him to then find it and then get massively turned on for some reason. It's
again that great writing trick that Rick and Aid can do of describing what you're meant to be seeing, and you can almost absolutely visualise it.
Did you notice there's basically a call forward with the line, no more running into off licences and seeing how much we can drink before the police arrive? Because that's almost exactly what they do in the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
They do a round raid and an off licence.
I never thought of that.
Eddie seems to have a limitless supply of money now. And he's like, hey, you have 10 grand, have 100 grand.
Yeah.
And yet still gives Richie just 15 quid. It's a
nice rule of three, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, builds up and up and then 15.
but also, doesn't just give him a small amount of money. It gives him the note that is quite obviously the thing that won't get accepted anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when he wants to go off and spend the money, he says let's go down to a Maserati showroom, which is the name of a nice car, I assume, from context.
Yeah.
Now, why did they not use a more commonly known fancy car like a Ferrari or Porsche? Is Maserati the funnier sounding thing, you think?
I don't know.
I think the joke is everyone's ignorant and stupid, but we'll see if you can explain it to me. They don't have any Welsh money. Well, no wonder they all vote Labour.
Yeah.
What? Because they haven't got any money, they have to vote Labour.
Because they'd be socialist, therefore.
The lower classes without money have been crushed by the Tories, therefore they're going to vote Labour.
Because they've got no money.
But they do have Welsh money, don't they?
No, there's Scottish money. There's no such thing as Welsh money.
No, there's not Welsh variations of sterling.
They just have the English pound.
Yeah.
The English.
And quite right
can't
too.
Do a Welsh accent.
I love the concept. It's quite obvious when you think about it, but the idea of the Queen saving up for the 50 to get her tits out, so I wouldn't do it on the back of a 5, no.
I love that he's getting outraged at the idea of it, and then it's like, she'd save him up for the 50. It's a
Can you imagine?
Brilliant surprise.
Loyal subjects, you've been good. Here's the reward.
What's great is, though, that it doesn't really age it too much to just be talking about the Queen's jokes, does it?
It doesn't. Because it was always wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's more wrong now. It's just because she's always been old from my memory. There's pictures of her young. But, you know what I mean?
The age she was when I was growing up, she looked ancient. Now she looks ancient. But when I look at how she was then, I go, oh, she looked quite young.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember
you would have liked to have looked at their Jugs.
I remember a spitting image sketch where the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh go to a cash point and she's like, look at this, Philip, look at this. So you put your card in here, press this number, beep, 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 and it's like, what's going on? Then press this,
What is all this?
And then you press out, and little photos of yourself come out. Look, and she's like, oh, I look too old in this one. So the first time the dogs attacked them, we all assumed that it was the dogs attacking them because of the sex spray on them. But it's every single time anyone ever goes to the pub, isn't it? Those dogs are just trained to attack customers.
It just became a thing, doesn't it? Now, do they attack all the customers, or do they just attack Richie and Eddie?
Do you think they're stray dogs outside?
No,
they're not belonging to the pub.
I think they're Dick's dogs.
You reckon?
I think they do. That's based on when I was younger. I worked as a glass collector in a pub. The biggest memory of it was I was there one St George's Day, and they had a white Rottweiler. And I went out, saw it that day, and they'd painted a red cross on him.
Oh, fucking hell.
Horrible. It's like, look, and they're great. And the dog's like, my hair's all red.
The dog is slowly taking in poison through its paws. Oh my God.
That's bad. And it was a Rottweiler.
It was a Rottweiler.
German dog as well?
No, it was a British Bulldog.
Oh, that's all right then.
It was a Bulldog. It was a Bulldog. It was a,
So I've got a bone to pick with the opening joke. They come in and they say something like,
Stand back,
birds. And then someone even says, oh, there's no one here. But what they don't do is they
Show a wide.
Is cut to the big wide of an empty pub. Now, presumably, the set's been built by this point because we're filming it in this episode. So why not cut to the big wide of the empty pub?
That's a fuck up.
That's how the joke works.
Yeah.
And then in the same sequence, Dick goes, come on, I'm very busy. What you do is you then again cut to the big wide of the empty pub. And they don't do it, and that's always bothered me.
It's an odd little exchange that they have, isn't it? Because it's that lovely weather as well, and then it's raining, but they're not wet.
Richie is that annoying friend who, when you're in the pub with them, they go, "Oh, anything," and well, no, but what do you want to drink? Oh, just just get me something nice.
Well, then what Eddie should have done is and another half a mild.
Yeah.
If you order a pint of mild in a half pint glass, wouldn't you get charged for a full pint? You know what I mean? Because it's all spilt out over the sides. Like, well, you asked for that.
Right.
And we know he has unlimited money now, Eddie. So that's like him burning money. That's his version of burning money, wasting alcohol.
That's him living ostentatiously.
Yeah, that's me saying, this is how rich I am, guys. Look at this. A whole pint of mild in a half pint glass. Absinthe doesn't sound like a sneeze either, I have to say.
Oh, it's pushing it, isn't it? That?
When they cut to the shot at the side of the bar, did you see that Dick was miming pouring into an already filled glass?
That really annoys me. Because it's a full pint as well. He barely even... And then, but I suppose you can't wait for him to pour out a whole pint of pernod.
We get a glimpse of it at this shot where we're around the side of the bar, and we see it more when Dick walks out to them at the table. But Dick in jeans doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, so he's got a tie and or other things on.
Yeah,
he's quite smart.
He's dressed a bit like Richie.
Yeah, that's true. Jeans and
so
shirt
very
tie is
90s,
odd.
isn't it?
Got a wide tie as well, which is a 90s thing.
One line that confuses me, because I hadn't quite picked up on it, but you know, at the very, very beginning, when obviously Richie's being the annoying person who's overly nervous because of the money.
Yeah. Palpitations.
And then, that's a great line. It's like, what are you having, boys? Palpitations. Has he seen the money yet?
Went well over my head. That went well over my head as a kid.
The palpitations line, it's great setup and punch that though, isn't it? And then Eddie says through gritted teeth, don't blow it lefty, or so help me, I'll swing for you.
Oh, does he say lefty?
Yeah.
I never heard lefty. Okay,
no,
that's what it is.
I had that on the rewatch. I noticed that this time. I thought, is that a quote from something, or is he just literally, it's another kind of communist reference?
I'd always heard the so help me, I'll swing for you, but I never knew what he said before.
He says, don't blow it lefty.
Okay.
Which is an odd thing to come out of Eddie's lips at that point somehow. I don't know.
Well, the characters... You'd say voting Labour's a bad thing and stuff, don't they? So maybe that it's a sort of it's in character.
If it might be some sort of nod to something.
So Dick gets given the money, and then gets overcome by horniness. Now, is he actually horny, or is he playing up to make an excuse to go and make his dobbing in phone call?
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
Now, so there's a line: the lights are better in the toilets. The audience give a massive groan. So there's the implication of for a wank.
Yeah, the insinuation is he's going to take this newly found pornographic material off for a wank. But of course, he's slipping off to a stained piece of hardboard with a phone attached to it. That is playing the back of the pub.
Sure,
the back room of the pub.
So it's basically just a tight shot of a bit of wood.
Where he goes off, calls Skullcrusher Henderson, and introduces himself. Is this the first time his surname, Head, has actually been used in the show and not in the credits?
Yes, I would say so. He says it twice as well, doesn't he? Because he also says, when he's talking about his QPR trial, dickhead, that's me. Yeah, I think so. It's in the credits and in the script book, but it's always been Dick, right?
I'm racking my brains as to whether they call
really
him
think it
Dickhead
is.
in earlier episodes.
And Veronica was, I think, credited as Veronica Head because the audience laugh and it gets quite a big laugh, which you'd think, well, maybe that wouldn't if it had been used before. But then it put me in mind of the Captain Darling thing in Blackadder, which always got a big laugh, even though people knew what was coming.
And it's funny either way if you know it.
I think we were aware, because as you say, it was in the credits, so if you'd watched them, you were aware that his full name was Dick Head, which is a gag just in itself, isn't it? Richard Head or whatever. Yeah, that is a great line. And Skullcrusher Henderson, I think my favourite of all the bottom baddies.
He looks like someone else as well, that actor. He looks like one of the guys at Smith & Jones or something, you know what I mean?
Oh, he looks a bit like Mel Smith, maybe.
Yes, I think so. But he's not him.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a British bulldog, doesn't he? That kind
of I mean, he looks like a mean bastard, doesn't he?
So Richie's, when he's talking about having it, so what does he have? He has pernod.
Well, I think because it's already a full pint, is it just wastage that he's been handed, really?
Right. Well,
maybe.
That's what I'm trying to think of a reason why Dick's just handing him a full pint and just pretending to pour pernod into it.
He gets confused as well because he wants absinthe, he's told it's pernod, and then he says, or they say Toulouse-Lautrec used to drink this, but you used to drink pernod or absinthe.
Absinthe.
And
I think
who
he
is that
thinks
guy?
it's
Is that an artist?
Yeah, Toulouse-Lautrec was a
Is he famous?
famous
one?
French. He's in Moulin Rouge, if you remember that.
Okay, all right.
So,
as another
Just showing my
cultural
ignorance. Sorry.
I think Dick handing him a pre-poured pint was simply an acting way of them not having to wait for a bottle to be poured.
Yeah, you might do a good 5-10 seconds of no one talking and just a shot of a bottle filling it, glass
But
filling it.
I'm going to think that it's wastage.
Yeah. But
I think that's funny.
But anyone who's ever had pernod or absinthe will know they are fucking disgusting drinks.
You couldn't drink a pint of them.
Absolutely not. You would die.
You could barely drink a shot of it.
Rick really sells that glugging and then the spitting
Yeah.
it out. And then this is shit.
Yeah.
Do you guys notice Eddie's racial slur?
Yeah, a coachload of Japs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I know we can't put today's, but even in the 90s, that was a little bit
Does feel
close
a
to
bit,
the bone, wasn't it?
Also, are Japanese people particularly keen on? Was it Malibu?
So, I mean, I think it's just the idea of a coach load.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bunch of tourists came over.
Yeah, it's in character as Eddie, isn't it? We've already had him say slanty-eyed fiend as he's
Sure.
taking upstairs.
Yeah.
Eddie is actually.
It's it's of its time. It's
Yeah.
what can you say? It's unfortunate it's there, but I'm sure there's no ill intent.
It's one of those, again, sometimes Richie comes out with this xenophobic stuff about the French and all that kind he
Eddie's
says
saying
frog
it's odd,
and string
isn't
up
it?
his crack and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And because Eddie's saying it seems more malicious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But actually it is just saying a coachload of tourists.
Yeah.
And they've gone for a funny,
It's all made up of. So I'm assuming it wasn't true. There wasn't actually a bunch of.
No, it's him. Eddie's drunk it, hasn't he? They've drunk it. So it's just, a coachload of people turned up. And they've obviously thought, well, what's the funniest
And
thing you
Dick
could say?
takes that on his. Dick completely just take. Oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You've drunk all the Malibu, yeah, sure, whatever. He comes across. It's weird. Dickhead's got a snivelling grassness to him there. He's his namesake. He's a dick. He's horrible. It's not his patch, is it? But he's just like, let me grass these people up and get them beaten up.
Dick's very angry when they come in, first of all.
But he's in bed with him, who is financially linked with him because he's given him the money to use for the winnings, isn't he? So he actually is.
Although, this isn't the first time that they've walked into the pub and Dick scammed them on something involving a big bundle of money.
Time-mouth Larry.
Yeah.
It's the very similar setup in terms of the plot, isn't it?
And with that, I think it's time for a word from our sponsors.
I love pickled onions. I love pickled onions. Piccalilli's a bit of all right in a cold meat sandwich any weekday night. Food is only so-so unless it's got some bang. Bring on the Branston, bring on the Branston, bring on the Branston tang.
Not a mistake, but it's sort of when Eddie goes, "Oh, look," and then turns and points. I find that really funny.
I do like
yes,
that, yeah.
It's an overplayed thing by Aid, isn't it?
Yeah.
You almost don't notice, but it's just looking completely other direction, and then suddenly look, and then points to the poster.
At the place I've not previously looked at all, Spudgun's then late reaction and standing up and knocking the table over is one of my favourite bits of physical comedy.
Steep is effing vertical. That's something that gets word for word reused in Bottom Line 2.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they completely reuse something. They're better than that.
Right, so talking about things that get reused, by this point, we're in the third series, the first Bottom Live has been out, so most Bottom fans have seen it. Now they do the double punch, or they do we need gold teeth, punch, spit, spit, teeth,
And that has been from Bottom Live as well. Yeah.
So anyone who's seen Bottom Live, I'm looking at it thinking, you're reusing material here. Most of the Bottom fans would have seen that.
But it gets a massive reaction. It's a great bit. Also, it's unusual how easily they remove the gold teeth from Spudgun and Dave.
Right.
Yeah. Despite never showing gold teeth ever.
Yeah.
It's from the top mouth, you know what I mean? Like, it comes out so easy. There's not their back teeth there. That was a prominent tooth, you know?
Yeah.
Now, is that something that people actually used to have back in the day? Is that just a cliche thing? That be like gold teeth, you know?
They do it obviously when they're going to go down the pawn shop as well, don't they? It is an old.
So why would people do it?
kind of gag that you'd pawn your gold teeth to get some money, wouldn't you?
Why would people have gold teeth? It's an expensive metal. Why would they ever use that for fillings?
Well, I don't think the metal they use for fillings now was previously in mass production. Like now, it's like what do they use? like, is it aluminium now or something like that?
Something
But
like
why
that.
was it ever gold? Like, what's the best thing we could use? Oh, the most expensive metal ever. Oh, no, it's
sure.
not. Is
Well,
it platinum?
I
But
think
whatever.
gold is just that it was maybe proven to not be toxic
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point. Maybe that would be why it was used, because mercury was,
Yeah.
which is why filling stopped being
Yeah,
mercury, didn't
there
they?
you go.
Was it a weird way of like having savings?
I think
You know what
it
I
was
mean?
to
Having
show that you were
money on
actually
you.
quite
Maybe.
affluent as well, because
Yeah.
if you could afford gold teeth.
I do feel like Aid does verge on milking the teeth spitting. He even turns to the camera at one point just to do like an extra one.
Before that, Richie gives a nice run up to.
He does. Like,
Yeah.
almost like a lop-de-lop-de-lop.
Oh, have you noticed Spudgun breaks character for a second? You see him, he smiles.
You see him trying
Yeah,
not to laugh as
yeah.
he's watching it. Yeah.
And also, again, when Richie is having his teeth shaken out of his head,
Right.
the angle, you see Spudgun, well, yeah, sort of laughing, smirking,
Oh,
but
okay.
maybe it's not, because as they get up and leave, they're both covering their face. Maybe it's to
Okay.
show that they don't have
Yeah,
teeth
yeah.
missing, you know, to
Okay.
hide up that.
I think they're meant to be showing pain, aren't they, when they're holding
He's
them
not,
out?
he's
But
smart,
he's not.
he
No,
is
you can
smart.
see.
Yeah,
It's a niggle that you can see him in the background smirking.
Hey.
Dickhead actually, Lee Corns actually plays it quite well to just
Yeah.
sort of also very nonchalantly watching him
Yeah,
smash
yeah,
the shit
there's
out of Rick
violence.
on the bar.
I have to say, I did see this version of the teeth being spat out before I saw the bottom live, though.
Right.
So this is one just because I
Oh, I
was...
see. Yeah,
Too
yeah.
young for
Yeah.
Bottom Live.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
I
19,
hadn't seen
wasn't
it. It was hard to, get the videos back then. Everything wasn't readily
Yeah.
available.
Do you notice that Aid very clearly has the mouth full of teeth already? When he goes wrong side, he can't say the word quite properly.
Well, but he's already had a bunch of teeth knocked out there, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's
That are
still
loose
got-
in his mouth.
He's still got more in there.
Yeah, no, exactly. But he's like, how are they? Wrong side.
It's
the
played because
character
he's-
still has teeth in his mouth that were freshly knocked out. So I think that's
Okay.
fine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's meant to
Yeah.
be
I
insinuating
know it's a mistake,
pain.
yeah, but I think there's a logic that you
Yeah.
can explain that mistake away.
Yeah.
Like he's, you know what I mean?
This is the
They're loose
thing.
in his mouth.
That gag done live in the live show
Hmm.
is much more impressive in many ways, because you don't get the close-up camera shots, do you?
Yeah,
And it plays
yeah.
out much more believably, and
Yeah.
whereas because it is so intent on sort of close-up shot, you'll notice little things like that, especially on the rewatch, and we're over-analysing it to fuck, aren't we?
So they, and they fuck off. Just what? I don't know what they do. What do you think they do? They go home.
They go home to bone up.
Yeah, that's right. To bone up. He's got the encyclopedias on hand as well, ready to be snuck in. I suppose so he's sourcing them. And
Yeah, where have all their encyclopedias suddenly come
they're
from?
nice looking books, aren't they? I had a set of encyclopedias when I was younger, before basically the internet in book form. You
Yeah.
know, they're always quite
Do you
nice,
reckon
leather
they've
bound type
Do you reckon
books.
they've swiped them from the library or
I
something?
think
Yeah, maybe.
they've gone to the local mini mart, nicked a shopping trolley,
Yeah.
then gone to the library, stolen them, then, I don't know, gone to a
Yeah.
tailor that sells things for large men and stolen a massive coat.
Yeah, the reveal of Rick coming in
Yeah.
the big coat
Yeah.
with the shopping trolley and
Yeah.
I've put on an awful lot of weight recently. That
He's
is my standout
sheepish.
moment.
So he's so sheepish where he does that, isn't he? He's
Oh
lovely.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
just there. No one's listening to you. Don't worry about it.
I like the fact that like he's doing a horrific job of sneaking in there, but ironically he's spent a lifetime building up this invisibility because people dislike him so much
Yeah.
that it didn't matter how bad a job he's done,
Yeah.
he's invisible to them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's worked in his favour for once.
Before he goes and gets them, of course, Eddie tests the buzzer, and we get a great callback to University Challenge, which feels like almost like a callback to the Young Ones episode as well.
Yeah,
which is
sure.
the Hitler Hammersmith, which sounds to me like Christopher Ryan doing the voice.
It
for
is
that.
him, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound exactly like him. There's a nice throwaway gag that I didn't pick up on the first time, I think, where Richie just says, "Oh, thank God for Grandad's teeth." That when he comes in, which would explain why they've all got teeth now. They've all pilfered their Granddad's teeth and put them back in their
right.
mouth.
Okay.
That's weird. Yeah, fine. You know, just a little something
Yeah.
to explain why they got it away.
horrible,
They got them back. Yeah.
Yeah, the Don't Be So Foul as well. Very similar to the Back in a Jiffy, isn't it? Which
Yeah.
is the exact same series as well, from the Fingers on Buzzers. Makes more sense, this one.
Richie takes perverted offence at things that would seem to be slightly less than perverted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet we see an absolutely astounding bit of perversion mainly from Richie, but also from the group when they see the nurses.
Yeah.
To the point where Richie is miming holding orifices open as he's licking them and stuff like
I
that.
thought he was just twiddling nipples and then
Oh,
licking in
oh,
between.
no.
I think
That's
he's got
a
fanny
labia.
open.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Look,
Fine.
Lawrence
But
of.
it's a nursey jug fest on table 2, so that's why I think he's playing with imaginary boobs.
With Lisa Fowler from EastEnders
Yeah,
yelling
she is in
sexist
that,
pig.
isn't she? Yeah. She's
Lucy
a date
Benjamin.
before she appeared in EastEnders, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was before that. Yeah,
So-
yeah. What do you think Richie was true about nurses? Is it something about shaving?
Yeah,
or
I
something
don't
else?
understand that. I never understood that.
I thought it was just about women rather than nurses.
Yeah, but is it true? Is what true? What is he asking? I've always wondered that.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be open-ended.
Yeah.
Just it's ignored, isn't it? It's just like, I don't know what you're on about, Richie.
Those women are open-ended. Okay.
I mean, it's either that it is about nurses and that they're not wearing underwear, but that's not a known
Maybe.
thing as far as I'm aware. But
Yeah.
I think it's just about women and whether it,
Is it true that they don't have penises?
We mentioned about how it's a bit like the Young Ones and Back to the University Challenge episode.
Yeah.
When Rick sits down and says, look at him trying not to cry
Yeah.
after the exchange between Hedgehog and Dick, that reminded me of Rick from the Young
I
Ones
suppose
as
so,
well.
Right.
And also, it's quite a nice, sweet moment between Dave and Richie, which
Yeah.
has never been before or since.
Yeah.
Right?
No, 'cause
They've got a weird dynamic there, haven't
Yeah.
they? What would their dynamic be together if they were to pair off? Because he has lower status than Richie, I think, which is odd, but yet doesn't like him and probably would kick up a fuss with his plans and things.
I think it is just Richie trying to be nice and chat, isn't it? Like in his
But
overly...
he manages, I think, sort of, and he's still being weird, but he doesn't
Yeah.
do anything that upsets Hedgehog there. Maybe there's hope for him.
What, hope for Richie?
Yeah, might get a friend.
There's no hope.
No, I mean, obviously, you can't read social situations at all because Dick
Yeah.
Head won that exchange, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah,
with the-
hamster.
The guy who gets electrocuted, I recognise him from Nuns on the Run. That's an Eric Idle and Robbie Coltrane film, yeah. So the guy who gets electrocuted, who's one of the police officers at the table in the Lamb and Flag, he's in,
CID table.
police officers,
Yeah.
yeah. He is in, I'm pretty sure he's in Nuns on the Run, and he plays the brother of Camille Kaduri. When she's in hospital, Eric Idle comes in dressed as a nun. He says something like, yeah, she's been mixed with a gangster called Brian, or something like that. I think the dad might say that, but he's definitely the brother. That's the only thing I know him from, but I recognise him definitely from that.
That and Bottom, highlights.
Yeah. Have you? What do you think's going on with Eddie's sudden gay tendencies when he goes underneath the CID table to fix their buzzer? And then
What is it he sees
what's
there?
what's happened there?
Again, I suppose the way that they sort of make it that Richie or Eddie could be delivering
Yeah.
these kind of like perverted things now, but unless it is just actually that he's sweating and it's hot.
No, I don't think
But
so.
you reckon it's a
I
pervy
think it's
thing?
a pervy thing, definitely.
He's seen the policeman's truncheon and he likes it.
Absolutely.
Now, in the list of subjects that Richie goes through that are abbreviated, you can pretty much work out what all of them are. Lit is obviously literature and things like that. I can't work out what bilge is.
Biology.
Bilge. Okay.
Bio, builds, yeah, biology, yes.
That-
Ing, hist, jog, chem, phys, bird, and
So-
it's
what-
biology because it's after physics.
Okay, what would burr be?
Burr.
Fizz is physics,
So
obviously.
it's biology. Well, I don't know if I'm saying it
Oh,
right.
sorry, it's burr bilg. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
whatever he says.
Okay.
What is it he says? And gym is the last one, isn't it?
Well,
And Latin.
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 Yeah. What would Jim be?
Gym.
Just gym, which is
Oh, I
PE,
see.
which
Right.
is just stupid, isn't
Finally,
it?
I get that.
Because
Okay.
he should have said sport. shouldn't
Right,
he?
okay.
PE,
That's
I
not,
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's not
Well, no.
short for anything. Okay. Finally got that joke. Okay.
Now, here's something I've always wondered. When Richie is in the toilet trying to steal a condom and then a guy comes in to see him.
Same guy from Nuns on the Run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's him, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the guy we then see get shocked.
So
is
they
it?
get electrocuted. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
because I was going to say, is that the guy who's going into the cubicle to start shitting up a storm?
Oh, right.
But no, then, if it's the guy that gets shocked.
We
Don't
don't
think
see
that's
him. Do we?
Okay, never mind. That's a theory gone out the window.
Again, the bin bag line from that is
Yeah.
Reuse it again,
quite
yeah.
spectacular, isn't it?
Hope
Just
it's
like-
dry.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That is just
Sort of
fucking...
reuse. Now, did they ever reuse condoms ever in history at any time? Is it a thing?
So I think when condoms were first invented and they were made of like sheep's guts, they were reused. They were like clean and reused.
How
Oh, really?
Yeah.
how practical were they? Did they work?
I've not used them myself.
This
No.
wasn't in the 90s, was it?
Rinse, give it a good rinse. Ugh.
But like just the logistics of rinsing out a plastic bag.
When people start getting electrocuted,
Right. Good to know that nurses only wait until 3 people have been electrocuted before they get into action.
now there's some fucking high voltage on that because they've been shocked so much they've obviously been burnt because they need bandages from
Yeah.
a shock.
That was a question I had. Why do you need bandages for burns?
It must just be because it's so high voltage. I think sparks fly out of one of them, don't they?
Yeah.
Now, the last person being taken out on a stretcher, being one of the dying and wounded, that's the last person, yeah? So that would imply that while people were taking care of the dying and wounded, that every now and again they'd still take part in the quiz and buzz in on something that previously has attacked every single member who's touched it, apart from one table.
Do you think, like, as they were being taken out, the nurses were still trying to answer the questions?
Exactly. I think sometimes there was a question like, well, I know that answer so much that I'm going to chance it.
How bad a fighter must Richie be to attack a man who is currently shitting himself on a toilet with diarrhea and still lose?
Yes, I've written that down.
It's possibly might have been slightly handicapped by the immense stench in there, which Rick plays really well the moment he kicks the door open.
Yeah.
To basically take on a man whose pants are around his ankles and is currently mid-squit and to still lose.
Isn't it some sort of weird psychological warfare to just start shitting everywhere while you're fighting someone? I mean, what do you do to someone that's doing that, you know?
Right,
like, oh, God.
Yeah.
So maybe he just stood up, started spraying his poo, and
like a skunk.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then started hitting him.
But Richie's not covered in shit, is he?
No, it's just blood, isn't it? But the Berlin being the capital, which country is in the pop music category? You noticed that?
Oh, is it pop music?
Yeah, and then pop music. Berlin is the capital, which country? Germany. So that just shows how long they've been at the quiz. Yeah. And that Dick is fucking sick of it now. He's not even trying. It's weird that he even had the facade of still having the categories, you know? And it's weird. It's amazing Richie didn't think of trying the encyclopedias until every single member of the pub had been taken out on a stretcher. The posh loo paper. That made me laugh. That's an idea. Not nice leather-bound toilet paper.
That's like a new variation on word of the day toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah, very...
Considering that we're now in the age of the internet, where everything is Googleable and no one uses actual books anymore, I wonder if there's...
Is that a fact?
Well, no, not really. I wonder if there's a market for repurposing encyclopedias as posh toilet paper.
I don't think there is, no.
No?
No, I think you're bugged.
Bet some club somewhere in Chelsea or something.
If you do a bottom-themed quiz night, you should have toilets with encyclopedia toilet paper.
Could do. Maybe if we do another. We've skipped over the entrance of Skullcrusher as well.
Well, so
does it have like a lightning effect noise?
Yes, thunder crash, isn't it? And I love how it coincides with Dick ringing the bell for time as well.
Yeah.
Well, I love that for once it's teased that they might actually get away with it. Yeah. They're literally heading for the door. They've got the money, and then at the end, just at the last moment, their plans are scuppered by Skullcrusher's appearance.
Even him being there, that's not necessarily scuppered actually, because they've got the money.
It's two, right? One is that he's there, but then it's that the rug is pulled out from under their feet at the last second by the fact that the money is forged.
Yeah. Richie using his smashing blouse line again as a catchphrase now, isn't it?
I love that he says that to Skullcrusher.
And Richie calls him officer as well. That's so sycophantic and
get
pathetic,
anything
isn't it?
Authority.
Yeah,
he's trying
he does that, doesn't he?
I mean, I do feel a bit sorry for them in that Skullcrusher's turned up expecting a load of money off them, and yet Skullcrusher and Dick know that they have just entered this quiz trying to win the money. Like,
it's a right stitch up.
You absolute bastards.
Yeah. Well, the whole scheme is that Dick's going to get real money from the people entering, isn't it? And then they give away fake money. So
and he can't wait a moment. He's off to the all-night bank.
I mean, he's completely immoral.
Now, do you guys remember the Skull Crush being worse than it actually is on rewatch? It's very
really disappointing, I think, because they miss Rick and Aid's look to each other of shitting themselves, don't they? All you see is the back of their head in that shot. And then the freeze frame isn't as great as it could be.
It's like he really slowly pushes them together and they just gently sort of like bounce heads and then it freezes. And
obviously you're not going to see their skulls caving in. It's not sold as well as it could have been. I think just their facial expressions and everything aren't selling it enough on that freeze frame.
It's sold in the suggestion of it, I think, and just you've heard his name.
But Skullcrusher himself looks kind of like half asleep as he's doing it. He should have like a look of ferocious anger on
his name is Skullcrusher Henderson. You must assume that crushing skulls is old hat for him. It's just another day at the office. So just another pair of skulls.
I don't know. Maybe surely he's the psychopathic, violent kind of guy who loves doing it, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I must say, actually, the way Rick sells the name Skullcrusher when he first hears it from Dick is fantastic. It's one of my stand-up bits. And that's why he's called the Skullcrusher, and he's doing that shaky, nervous. I don't know whether Rick's shitting himself enough when they actually do meet him. Therefore, because of course they think they're getting away with it.
That maybe is the reason.
That's a bit more deserving of his sort of.
It just feels a flat ending to what is one of the best episodes of Series 3.
Yeah.
And it's very abrupt, isn't it? I mean, obviously the freeze frame is always abrupt, but It felt like it needed an extra little bit of dialogue, and maybe the audience just aren't going for it.
The stunt could have been better, though. It definitely could have. It was
What, the head crush?
Yeah. Any more standout bits?
In terms of the entire episode, I think for me, the physical comedy of the stick in the eye followed by the setting fire of the crotch, that's a great bit. I do think it's very well representative of the physical comedy. The entire episode itself, I think, is quite strong, especially when compared to the rest of the series.
It's nice when they move locations about. This one does feel a little bit like a spiritual sequel to Parade. It's got the dickhead in it again. It's got the pub in it again.
It's a great British tradition going out to the pub quiz, isn't it? And all that.
Yeah,
so it's very nice that they celebrate that, and then obviously having money and a dastardly scheme, entire plot makes sense, and that's why it works. And bringing in Spudgun and Dave Hedgehog is great. And I mean, again, just I'll say the Queen's Jugs. Being saved up for 50.
One of my favourites is that Eddie hasn't even got the shape right on one of them. It just seems like the amount of mistakes you'd have to make to make a triangle note and not notice.
Again, this is going to sound like a made-up story from my childhood, but I swear to God this is true. The day after this episode went out, I remember being in W.H. Smith's in Kingston with my mum and sister, and my sister asking my mum, "Do you think we'll ever have a £15 note?" And the woman behind the counter said, "Someone was watching Bottom last night, weren't they?" Yeah.
Really?
I swear to God.
Oh, good on that woman.
So anyway, that was.
What did she sound like?
I can't remember.
Somebody's watching Boston last night.
She might be listening.
Come on, sweethearts. Away from the woman.
Those were highlights. What about niggles? Any specific niggles?
Only one for me is obviously Spudgun smirking in the background
Absolutely,
during
it's
the
that one,
violence. And I have to say, it's not really a niggle, but I don't find the daffodils line funny enough.
Right. Yeah.
I find it funny that it doesn't land properly.
Right,
that it's so weird. And
it is weird.
Yeah.
And again, the reuse of Budgie as well from Hedgehog. Like, I don't know. I think they just sort of give him some really strange things to say during the pub. But I mean, I don't know. It's not a niggle as such. Just it doesn't make me laugh.
For me, it's the not cutting to the big empty wide of the pub to sell those jokes. Those jokes would have worked if you'd cut to the wide.
Yeah.
So.
Again, another standout. I just think Lee Corns' performance as Dickhead is great in this.
Right.
It's his best performance, I'd say.
Yeah, I've given him more airtime and all of the gags and sells that from him.
It's the one where he's given the most to do, and he certainly does the best with it.
And I love that he was in went up for trials for QPR.
And that's Eddie's team as well, wasn't it? So you think he'd be interested, but he's clearly heard this 100 times because he's mouthing along to it, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, any specific sound effects that you guys liked?
Well, I like the callback of the olive opening.
Yeah.
I like that sound effect. Not that it's music at that moment, just hearing that sound effect brings back good memories.
Yeah, obviously the shitting on the toilet from the guy.
That it's such a splashy, sort of liquidy effect. It's brilliant.
Oh, what I like about that sort of scene is if you could just talk to people, tell them that bottom's pretty layered and quite clever, and then just someone coming in at that moment, it's like a good 5-10 seconds of squelching poo.
It's the epitome of toilet humour, isn't it? But it's well sold.
Yeah, sound effects for me, my two best ones are the shitting in the toilet and Richie's crinkly hanky. That just indicates that there's just so much of his dried DNA on that thing that he's then flapping around the room.
Whether it's snot or spunk.
Yeah.
Definitely spunk. No, definitely spunk.
You think definitely spunk?
Definitely.
I don't know.
So the episode where they actually go to the pub for a quiz. With that in mind, let's all go to the pub. I mean, let's all have a quiz.
Yay!
Right, so every episode we have a quiz about the specific episode we're talking about, and we rotate quizmasters. This week it's me. Guys, get your buzzers ready. Fart noises, please. What are you going to go for?
Okay, if Angela's not going for it, I think I'm going to go for squeezed fart.
Alright, I'm going to go for airy fart, which sounds like this.
First to 10. Who wrote War and Peace?
Leo Tolstoy.
Yes, correct, Paul.
Quick on the fart.
Question 2. What country is the Krugerrand from?
I think that was you, mate.
That was Angela.
South Africa?
It is South Africa. Well done.
Nice,
You
well
should
done.
have been more
Thought I could
confident
remember
there.
that from... It was from the other episode with the landlord, wasn't it? That was a callback.
Krugerrand's just crashed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Third question. Behind the bar, there's a lager that is on tap. Which lager is it?
Fucking hell.
I was struggling with this one.
I'll just guess. John Smith's.
It's not a lager, is it?
Exactly.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm going to guess Heineken.
It is Heineken.
Oh, fuck, really? It's always
Well,
Heineken.
honestly,
They're sponsored by it.
Yeah, so my thought was, if I've seen cans of it on the floor, they might have some kind of permission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Better
Logic
educated
there.
guess.
Logic. Okay, question 4. Between the gang, how many gold teeth do they have?
4.
5. That's 5, I'm afraid.
5 because Richie's got 3.
Yeah.
And they've
Fuck!
got 2.
Yeah.
Damn, I should have
points
buzzed in quicker.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Now, in the whole episode, how many actors have an EastEnders connection?
Oh, fuck. Well, there's...
To the 90s.
What?
From the 90s at the time of... Or from now?
From now.
Are we referencing the fact that Aid Edmondson has just signed up for EastEnders?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to say 3.
3, okay.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
Well, is he wrong? Therefore, he must be, right?
Yes, he is wrong. You're wrong.
Because I would have said it's Lucy Benjamin, Aid Edmondson.
Yeah.
Then there's the guy whose buzzer gets fixed. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember the name, but I know he's in EastEnders. So 4, just I don't know, it's probably more.
Yeah, it is 4, but
never
right. So is that point for no one?
Neither of us get the
No.
point.
Spent a bit of time researching this. So Lucy Benjamin plays Lisa. Adrian Emerson is now going to be in EastEnders. There is Peter Greaves, who played CID Man,
Right.
and he played Len in EastEnders on the 29th of April 2004. And also, the actor called Colin Wyatt was one of the pub team, he's credited as, and he wrote 116 episodes of EastEnders.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird?
Oh, I see. That's why you said EastEnders connection.
Yes,
Right, okay.
yeah.
Because I did look through the IMDb, but yeah.
But I mean, it's not like, and he worked as a runner on his set. He wrote 116 episodes. It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird that they brought in a writer for a pub team guy. You know,
Well, presumably he was an actor and a writer and was
he's not got many writing credits.
doing the
Yeah, he's got more writing credits than acting. Next question, question 6. Who is Dick Emery on the note with?
Fuck. Bobby Charlton.
No, you can't buzz and then guess. By the way,
Oh, this is going to drive me mad because I know it, but I can't think.
no, it's Princess Anne.
Yes,
right, okay.
she's riding.
She's
Yeah.
dead now, isn't she?
Yes.
Is she?
Yeah, ages ago. That's the Queen's sister,
I think
right?
Dick Emery is as well.
No, Princess Anne's the daughter. Margaret's the sister.
Oh. What subjects does Richie cover in the quiz? Okay, so that was...
Was that me?
It was you.
Ing, hist, jog, fizz, burr, biology, Latin, gym.
No, you missed a few.
Oh.
Was it got to be in order? Hang on.
I can only name one. I only know one that Ange just missed, which was fur.
Oh, fur is the last one before gym.
And you also missed Chem.
All of the sciences, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so question 8. What is the name of the Lamb and Flag's rival pub? Oh, I think that was...
The
Ange.
Dog and handgun.
It is the dog and handgun.
And
Get on
to
with
a
it,
piece.
you latent
Yeah,
homosexual.
That's right. How long are they all... This isn't a quiz question, but they all got 3 months last time. Everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
So the pub was shut for 3 months, I guess.
While everyone served time.
Yeah.
Both pubs were shut.
Question 9. Okay, how much is a Sunday roast in the pub?
Is this on the background? On the. Go on.
Yeah,
Go on. It is in the background, isn't
There's
it?
a sign.
I seem to recall that it's £6.95.
Really? Back
I
then?
might be wrong.
It is wrong. I'm afraid. I'm over to Paul.
I remember it being quite steep.
I'll only accept an exact answer.
£5.50.
No, it's $6.50 actually. Yeah, that's cheap.
I remember thinking it was quite expensive.
Yeah,
For the
back
90s.
then I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, now it's all right.
So it was £6.50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2 apiece, and there's one question left.
Here we go.
Okay, question 10. Where are the Appalachians?
Spain.
No,
Fuck.
That's in the south of Italy, isn't it?
no,
Oh.
Where are
Oh,
they?
it's America.
it's America. Yeah,
Yeah, of
fuck.
course, it's the Appalachians.
Oh, wait.
America.
Am I thinking of the Pyrenees? Is that Spain?
I don't know any
All right.
real mountain
Fuck, okay.
things, I'm afraid.
Oh,
So
well.
that's the Appalachian Mountains, usually including areas, states like Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia,
Yeah,
Maryland.
of course. They're
public
meant to
places.
be. Is that where the Hillbillies was kind of? meant to
Maybe.
be?
What's the one with the banjo? What's that called? Deliverance.
Deliverance.
Is
I
that
think
around
that's
there?
all around there.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So
I would
it's-
have also accepted a blood-curdling scream and electrocution sound. I don't have a tiebreaker.
Enough actual knowledge. Get to the bonus question.
I've got a tiebreaker ready. How much money do the guys owe Skullcrusher Henderson?
£5,000.
Yes, correct, Paul. Sorry, Ange. Right, that's Paul the winner for this episode. That brings us neatly to the end. If you want to join us next time, we're in the same place where you found us, this time.
Yes, you can follow us at Talking Bottom on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and drop us an email at 11maffickingparade@gmail.com.
And also, please give us a review on iTunes.
See you next time for Finger. Bye.
Bye.